What's up, everybody? It's Spencer Alessi, and this is the Esports Narrative. This is episode 13, and today I'm talking with Ryan Staton. Ryan is the owner of Ambition Esports, which is a North American esports organization. They're a multi-gaming esports org and a gaming community that really was originally founded as a WoW guild, and eventually over the years, with a bunch of friends, turned into a multi-gaming community, then into an actual esports organization run by those close group of friends who have been gaming for most of their lives on various platforms and game types. They compete in Rocket League, in the Pro Rivalry League, tongue twister,
yeah.
Nexus, NBC Universal, and the RLCS. They also compete in PUBG online for the game that's famously taking the world by storm right now, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and I believe they also compete in Paladins.
Yeah, there's just not much going on for Paladins right now.
Yeah, Ryan, welcome to the show. Really happy to have you on. Fill in any of the blanks where I missed anything or messed anything up, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Ryan. I'm 24 years old, coming on to be 25. I do pipeline welding inspection for the oil and gas industry. I've been stuck in various plants and offshore lines, things like that. Never gone offshore. Thankfully, I've been able to stay on land the entire time. But yeah, we started off as a WoW raiding guild just back in the day, super casual, laid back. We would just, have drunk raid nights, where we would just all start drinking and see how far we could go. Didn't get that far, but those are sometimes my most favorite raid nights. And then we kind of just branched off into the other MMO games. We were really just a community at the time. And it wasn't until I started doing a lot of work with another esports organization, and when they kind of, from them, I kind of told them, hey, they were going a different direction from where I was going. I was like, hey, I'm just going to rebuild my website, bring in the forums group, and we were literally just going to have those typical like online gaming clans, where people just come to chill, we play casual games, that was going to be it. Mm-hmm. And I accidentally inherited a CSGO team from them, and took them all the way to Premier. And it was from then that we got, they started out as IM, we took them to Premier, and then it was then that we started getting a lot of, a lot more hype, right? So
right.
I reached out to one of my old friends who we used to work together at a different community, and he's just great at social media. His name is Zach, and if you ever see us tweeting or hear back from me, no, I don't do those tweets. I'm terrible at Twitter. I'm not allowed to touch my own Twitter. He's super strict about the Twitter that he's been building, so I'm okay with that. That's fine. I'm just bad at Twitter. So after we did that, we've been through a couple CS:GO teams, but it really wasn't until that we found this Rocket League team that we've just really taken off, and this team is just something that I'm just so proud of. The players, the team, Spencer, they may end up coming on your show in the next, maybe next week sometime when they're not so busy.
Awesome.
Hopefully I can get them over here. But yeah, I just, Ambition, from a WoW guild, and then during one of our lands that we had for CSGO, we were at Fragadelphia, and we were at Frag 10. And it was then that we decided, okay, so this is for real. We have people wearing our jerseys at an event. So it's time to, we went through the legal stages, made it an actual legal company. And ever since then, we just keep moving up. So legally, we've really only been doing this thing for about 8 months now.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, I'm happy with the progress that we've made so far.
Well, I think the wisdom that you are going to share on this episode is going to be really great. And because there's a lot of people in your position, there's a lot of young esports organizations that are just starting up. They don't know which end is up. They don't know, they're probably young, much younger than you even, and they're trying to find their way on what they should do, how they acquire teams, how they get sponsorships and stuff like that. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to start the show, is to selfishly kind of shed some light on some of those topics and try and pick some people's brains and figure out what those answers to those questions are. Now, before I go into more of the traditional questions that I ask on the show, I'd really like to just get your opinion on Rocket League and PUBG right now, because both are taking the world by storm. There's been $1 million investment between Blizzard and Psyonix for Rocket League for the collegiate aspect, for the collegiate industry of esports.
Mm-hmm.
And PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is going to be at Gamescom. They're having their first ever LAN there. Give us a little bit of the current state of Rocket League and PUBG, and tell us why maybe they're so exciting right now, why they're gaining so much traction.
So there's pros and cons in each game, and I guess for Rocket League, one of the bigger cons are right now is that there's really only one league for it, and that's the RLCS, the Rocket League Championship Series. Now, they made it to where, they even made it smaller, because instead of top 16, now it's just top 8, but they made the bottom 8 the RLRS, which is the Rocket League Rivalry Series. And it's hard to get into. Like, it really is. Because the same teams have been dominating. And one of the biggest issues for Rocket League on a professional standpoint is the European side of things. They're dominating. We have the formerly known as Muffin Man, now Cloud9, and just to touch on that real quick, I was so happy that Cloud9 came into the league, because that just brought, you had teams like NRG and G2 and Envious, like those massive leagues that have been away for a long time, right? Everybody knows of G2 and Envious from the CSGO scene, right? They're huge. Mm-hmm. And for them, for Cloud9 to come into the scene, it just makes it better, because you have an organization that's that much of a powerhouse come into the game. And on the North American side, you've got to take some pride in saying, even if my team doesn't win, I'm going to root for my continent at that point in time. So I'm always going to root for a North American team. And I guess that's one of the main things, is it's very hard to get into. And with the play style between North America and the European, they're just two completely different play styles. And unless you are going to every single one of these LAN events, you don't get to play against the European teams. My team, their first ever playing against a North American team was at DreamHack. And we had to play against Flipside Tactics, which Flipside is a phenomenal team. And we actually, at that DreamHack, we lost 3 games total, but we lost to 2 teams. We lost to Flipside once and Envious twice. And Envious are the defending champions of Rocket League. So it's to play against teams like that, it's difficult, because the play style. So for a new team coming into Rocket League, it's incredibly hard, because there's not a lot of spots available. And some of the best teams are European, which you don't get to play against them, really. Mm-hmm. But that being said, with NBC picking up Rocket League is going to be one of the few games that are on TV, and which is just huge for the game, just massive for esports as a whole. More esports getting on TV, but Rocket League itself being able to say one of the few games, because there's not a lot of games that have been on TV. So the fact that Rocket League gets to be a part of that is huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And every year we're seeing bigger prize pools, and DreamHack finally picked it up. That was a $50,000 prize pool, which is great for the scene, And they were at X Games, so it's coming up. And I think when you compare Rocket League over to PUBG, Rocket League is more of an esport. I see it being, I don't want to say more successful, but I see it being more popular in terms of competitive play.
What do you think Rocket League has over PUBG?
It's extremely entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. And that's the big one. So when we were qualifying for the NBC tournament, my parents, because with how much I travel, I was in another state for a year solid. So I got rid of my house. We got rid of our apartment. I just moved back home with mom and dad, so I don't have to pay rent because I travel too much. Mm-hmm. I had an apartment for 3 years.
That's smart.
Yeah, I had an apartment for 3 years. I probably stayed in it for 7 months, and that wasn't straight. That was just a scattered 7 months. I was like,
yeah, smart move.
Yeah. So they were actually, they were interested in, learning what I do, learning the gaming science. So they were actually watching that event with me, and this is the first time they've ever watched video games being played like that, and they were getting out of their seat at times, excited, shouting, hooting, and hollering.
And Rocket League is Rocket League is super relatable too, because it's soccer.
It's soccer. Yeah, it's soccer.
You know,
it's entertaining to watch. It's fast paced. It's the plays that you see are just massive plays. It's extremely entertaining, and unfortunately for PUBG, I've been talking to so many PUBG players. For PUBG, the tournament side of things it's boring to watch, and I'll say that, like, it's boring to watch. Yeah, if you're watching like people like Dr. Disrespect or Tim the Tapman, you're watching an entertained a streamer who's entertaining. You're not really entertained by his game. You're entertained by him. So when you have to watch a caster float around it's almost like like the Halo Forge style cameras, like we just run around, and you have to watch him talk about like 90 some odd people trying to survive as long as they can. It's extremely boring.
And now there's a wide range of games out there. That you have Rocket League, you have fighting games, you have sports games like FIFA and Madden, and then you have FPS like Halo or not necessarily first person, but CS:GO and Call of Duty with the console games and Halo. There's a wide range of games. What would you say is esports? Like, if you had to define esports to your parents, how would you describe esports to them?
Well, for me, it's hard to say, because it's all about, for me, it's about the entertainment part of it. Esports is highly driven on advertisers and sponsors, and I often tell people that are looking to invest into esports, and they come to me, and I tell them honestly, from an individual investment, like a private investor, it's hard to invest in, because you're not going to get a return very soon. You're really not. It's more important for these companies to invest in these teams, because it's advertising space. So people say, Call of Duty is one of the original esports, which is absolutely true. Call of Duty is one of the original esports, but there's so many problems behind Call of Duty that make it difficult to really break out. Call of Duty is still huge, don't get me wrong, but there's so many issues with it. And then Halo, I think Halo 6 is going to be massive, in my opinion. Halo 6 will be one of the biggest esports games of all time, because Halo 6.
What do you think the difference is between Call of Duty and Halo? Why do you think that Call of Duty will be less successful?
Because one, Halo 6 is supposed to be coming back to PC, which will bring just a next level wave of competition over to it. Mm-hmm. It all depends on if Microsoft makes it to where they're only going to stream on Mixer. So one of the reasons why Call of Duty is not as popular as it can be, is because Activision has a deal with MLG. So these Call of Duty tournaments, they're on MLG stream. They're not on Twitch stream. So they're not being watched like they should. And the console scene is a lot harder to manage and follow versus a PC scene, because you have to rely on people. Some of these console players don't have computers at all. And, to get them to do Discord stuff is sometimes difficult. To get them to do, basic, easy things is sometimes difficult for console players, because a lot of the times, yeah, they're good, but they're not super dedicated. I just kind of view the console scene as a little bit more casual, and I'm not saying that's across the board. The professional Call of Duty players and professional Halo players are, they're massive. They're out there. But history has shown that the PC side of things takes over completely. I mean, Call of Duty has just never taken over for PC. It's never been a popular game for a computer. And I blame that on the developer, server issues and things like that. But and then Halo hasn't been on the PC. So I would say, because of the fact that Call of Duty can't be on Twitch, and the fact that the game completely changes, so often. You've got Black Ops 3, you got Advanced Warfare, and then you got the new Call of Duty coming out, which is taking you back to World War II. Right. At least Halo has a rhythm of, okay, I mean, some stuff has changed, but it's still the same basic principles of the game. And that's going to be really depending, that's going to weigh in on what's an esport and what's not.
Now I'm going to go off the script a tiny bit and ask a really random question, but I think it'll be kind of valuable to people who were in your shoes, 8 months ago. What if you had to do everything all over again? What would be the first game that you compete in or try and get a team in?
If I had to do it all over again and I had some startup money, I would get into probably Counter-Strike. Either Counter-Strike or Call of Duty. They both have such wide talent pools that they're a little easier to break into. Mm-hmm. But saying that, they're also the more expensive games to break into. So if you were when we started and you had literally no money whatsoever, then you get into, like, this may sound weird, but you get into the game that you think that's popular in esports, that you know and enjoy playing. Like, you have to know the game that you're getting into. Like, you have to have some basic knowledge of the game and of the players. And you have to make sure the game is popular. Because, like, don't start out with Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla is a phenomenal game, don't get me wrong. And I'm not discrediting anybody that are in Brawlhalla right now. Like, I'm going to start looking for a Brawlhalla player very soon. But it's not as popular as CSGO. And you saying that you have the number one Brawlhalla player in the world may not get your organization to where it needs to be at a quick, timely manner. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so to answer that in one game, CSGO.
Now, I like to take a little journey with my guests and go a little bit into bumps along the road, and then what successes came from that and what lessons were learned from that. What's been the worst moment for you so far?
So I won't tell you the team's name. This is my biggest regret. I won't tell you the team's name, but I will tell you, and I won't even tell you the game because I don't want anyone to know about the teams. So I had a team in a certain game that came to me at a very low cost of salary. And my gut said just make it happen at all costs. At the time I was making just enough money that I could have paid for the team and just eat ramen all day, right? Mm-hmm. And my gut told me that they would have been worth it, that they are going to be worth it. They're going to earn what you need them to do. But my mind said, let's continue playing the Moneyball game and let's not get into it right yet. So I said no, and it only took that team a month to become a professional roster. Mm-hmm. And I just got sick to my stomach. They got a phenomenal offer, making well over what they originally wanted to be a part of my organization for. And there's no doubt in my mind that if I would have went through with that deal, then Ambition would be in a significantly different spot than we are right now.
What did you learn from that?
I'm gonna have to say just not rely off the numbers as much, and there comes a point in time when you just got to kind of go with your gut and realize you're gonna be presented with so many make it or break it moments, and so many moments that you got to put yourself through literal hardship and dirt to get through. And if your gut says do it, and your advisors say do it, and the stats say do it. Don't argue with yourself.
Mm-hmm. What's been, now going in the opposite direction, and a more lighter note, what's been the most memorable moment for you so far, or better put, your biggest accomplishment so far?
So I went to a LAN in Philadelphia. It was Boostadelphia, sponsored by Nerd Street Gamers. And I've been trying to get a Rocket League team for a while, but I had this guy who said, hey, if you pay for our entry fee, we'll rep the name Ambition. And at the time, I was staying in Maryland. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll pay for it, and I'll come up. Me and my buddies, we all went up to go watch it. And that's when I saw a guy named Wonder. He was one of the guys that I paid for. I'd met him. His name is Nick. Great guy. You'll talk to him probably next week. And I saw him play, and I was in literal awe. Like, my mouth dropped on how well this guy could play this game. And we lost to a team of a guy named Prime Thunder. So it was when I saw Wonder play and I kind of asked about him, and no one really, he's just a guy from ladder, and to say that I annoyed him via DMs on trying to get him to play for Ambition is an understatement. Like, I straight up annoyed that guy. Like, I'm talking every day, hey, and then he finally said, well, I have teamed up with Prime Thunder. I was like, oh my god, even better. I wanted him too, blah, 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 blah. So my biggest accomplishment, and I tell these guys this almost every day, is when we picked up Wonder and Prime Thunder, our 2 Rocket League players. And I'm not taking anything away from Air. Air, if you listen to this, love you just as much. You're just, you're not the original 2. So yeah, the biggest thing was picking them guys up.
How important was it to you to maintain consistency when you were trying to go after, picking up players that you wanted? Like, why were you so insistent on that?
Well, so the thing is, you've got to have, there's so many things that come into play when you're picking up a team member. And anyone who's starting an organization, this is one of the biggest advices that I can give you, is that you gotta have, the attitude comes before the skill. And I've seen some amazing players that I've kicked off rosters because they had a bad attitude. And if you have a bad attitude, it's just going to bring you unwanted, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputation or something like that. It's not going to be good.
Right.
And it's not something that we wanted. So for me, it's attitude over skill, because a lot of the times skill can be gained. Your attitude, it's a lot harder to change your attitude than your skill.
Yeah, your attitude is your aptitude.
Exactly, and it's especially worse in some of the younger generation of players. We had a guy on one of our rosters. He was 15 and just a complete jerk. He was your typical 15-year-old troll. Yeah. And then I've got Prime Thunder over here who's 15, and he's the exact opposite. You talk to that guy, you'll think he's 20. Mm-hmm. So your attitude makes a world of difference. And a lot of times the guys with the more positive attitude are better players anyway.
Mm-hmm. Why is esports so exciting?
Because I would say that when Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys came out and said that esports will replace athletic competitive sports in 20 years, I think that means something. When you see tournaments like Dota bringing up a $25 almost $1 million prize pool that just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year, when you see companies like Pepsi and T-Mobile and NBC and things like that, Shaq buying teams, the guy who owns the Boston Bruins, Dallas and that's not the Cowboys, the city just invested $35 million into a team. It's here. It's a scene that's real. There's money to be made in it. There's careers to be made out of it. And when I was a kid, my dad always, because I was a giant nerd. Like, I started playing video games. Like, I got so hardcore into Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas. That was my game back in the day. And he said, if you like doing it so much, just figure out a way to make money out of it. And for my side of things, there's a career to be made here, and that's why we're pursuing it.
Now, where is the opportunity to make money in esports? A lot of teams make money through sponsorships and winning tournaments and things like that, but where is the opportunity to make money, and how does an organization, maintain profitability?
So that's the hardest part, and a lot of that is, there's several ways to go about it. So if you look at, like, say, Renegades, for example, I'll talk about Renegades. Renegades is Detroit's team now. They're the Detroit Renegades. So that's kind of how they get their money from the city. And then you've even got Splice that's pushing real. Splice is owned by massive millionaire who owns several teams. Guy that owns the Boston Bruins. Can't think of his name right now. They're going more towards the Boston Splice. So the money comes from. It's almost the same way in which you own a NASCAR, essentially, because it's all sponsorship money. It's all advertisement money. T-shirts. It's just that's how it comes from. Really, the reality of the things is, people say that they make money off the tournaments, and the reality is we really don't. Mm-hmm. And not unless you're winning a Dota 2 tournament. You're really not making. Most of your money is not coming from these tournament wins. They're coming from ad revenue and sponsorship revenue. And it's hard to, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard to obtain. You have to have a team. And in all reality, it only takes one team. It only takes one team on an organization to make that organization outstandingly great. It only takes the one team. But you have to have that one team. It's kind of like a vicious circle. You got to have the money to pay for the team that's going to earn you the money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of.
Do you think that's a sustainable, model with venture capital or sponsorship investments? Do you think that's a sustainable model, or do we need to, as an industry, kind of figure out ways to monetize in other ways outside of just merchandise or ticket sales and things like that for tournaments?
Well, it depends on if you're asking a player. No, when I tell my players, I tell them every day, you need to be on Twitch because you can make a living off Twitch alone. So if you're streaming on Twitch and you're a player, it's gonna benefit that. Excuse me if you hear the train in the background. It's gonna benefit that even bigger. If you're on the organization side of things, then you have several ways of making money other than just the sponsorship. So T-shirt sales or just physical product sales are a big one too. And you've got to find your right company. Like the company that I'm with Arma Centrum. We've had our rough spots, but Arma Centrum has been good to me so far. And they give outstanding prices for organizations on revenue. They don't give a percentage; they give markup, which is one of my biggest favorite things about Arma Centrum. And that's it's more about product sales and revenue from sponsorships. And is it sustainable? I mean, yeah, because you've got orgs that, like Cloud9, these big name orgs. They've been doing this for years, and they've been sustained very well off of it. And it's kind of like this, like I said, it's the same premise as NASCAR, just about. I mean, it's really the same premise. Yeah. I think now that you've got some of your big orgs that are starting, esports getting so big that there's going to start being regulations, and they may start doing ticket sale percentages and things like that, similar to what the NFL does. But it's so hard to do. It's a finicky thing. I don't think anybody figured it would blow up this big in such a short time that it has. So I still think the industry as a whole is working all of its kinks out. But as of right now, the money's already there. So any more ways that they figure out to make more money is just cool, much more beneficial.
Yeah. Now, this is a part of the show I call the 5-question combo breaker. It's the button mashing section of the show, which is essentially just my way of saying it's like a lightning round.
Okay.
So the first question is, what's the best advice someone has ever given you?
Oh, man, that's a toughie. I've been given some great advice. Best advice someone ever gave me was, once you find the team that you click with on a personal level, that your attitudes match and they're talented, invest into that team. Make them your team.
Nice. That's good advice. What do you think the esports industry needs to continue to grow and be successful?
I think there needs to be some regulations put in place on how players kind of react towards certain things. I think that there needs to be some restrictions as a whole in how you, I guess, react on your attitude, things like that. Like there needs to be a lot less toxicity overall and more professionalism for these bigger name companies to come in, like banks and things like that, to start investing high dollars into it.
What's the best play you've seen or the most memorable moment in esports?
Ooh. I think I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna be a little selfish here. I'm gonna have to talk about my boy Wonder right now. 0 time left on the clock. We're down by we're down by 1 point, and he does an incredible kickflip to juke out 2 of the 3 on the opposing team, and then flips it back upside down to score the goal over the goalie to tie the game up with 0 time left. And Rocket League gave us play of the game. It was on Rocket League's Twitter. It was an incredible play.
Nice. Share a valuable resource that's been beneficial to you in your career. I like to describe it as like a person, place, or thing, but share a valuable resource that's been beneficial to you in your journey so far.
I like to call myself that I have a degree in YouTube. I spent hours, and I mean probably hundreds of hours now, watching videos over how to run just a business on YouTube. And contractual work and getting the business part down. So just YouTube, how to run a business.
Nice. What's been one daily habit for you that's been the biggest factor for your success so far?
The way I conduct my meetings, I'll say that. I'm in meetings with players and other various people, I guess sponsors. And I talk to them as gamers. That's kind of my thing. The professionalism, when I have to talk like a professional person, I do it. But when I'm talking to these guys and these players who are kind of scared coming into a new org and things like that, I talk to them on their level. I talk to them as a gamer. That's what I am. I'm always going to remember my roots, and that's my conversation with them. And it goes far.
Yeah. Now, we'll close out the show with you kind of just giving us your wisdom on, someone who's looking to start an esports organization or someone who has already started one and they're trying to either take it to the next level and, share a little bit about how you learned the business side of esports. Did you just jump in and learn it on the go, like fix the plane while flying, or did you learn from other people? Did you have mentors, that kind of thing? Share some advice with the listeners on how someone would go about that and kind of where you got some of your experiences from.
So a lot of it was kind of fixing the plane as I went. But I've been with, my college background is in marketing. And so I've always had that kind of little niche there on better marketing and things like that. And I've worked for gaming communities and an esports organization on marketing side. And the guy who owned that esports org, he helped me out with a lot of things at the very beginning. But like I said, I have a degree in YouTube. And a lot of it came from knowing the games that I went into, surrounding myself with the right people that knows the games. And I guess, some of the biggest advice that I can give is integrity. Integrity is literally everything. Your public image is almost more important than your games or than your teams. And you have to be professional. You have to have good integrity. And, I see a lot of new esports orgs out there. Like one of the things that bother, like it's just a pet peeve. Like it really is a pet peeve. But, they'll put on their Twitter, world renowned professional esports organization. They have like 10 followers. Like, come on, like let's lower that standard. Like you're not world renowned. Nobody knows you. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole here. I'm just, it's look professional. Like if you have that on your Twitter, it looks like one of those bios that say I have 100 wins on Call of Duty in like 5 games or whatever. And the other biggie for me is you got to be careful with some of these organizations or some of these sponsors offer affiliates. And I'll say this right now: affiliates are not for esports organizations. They are for players and players only. I have there's one affiliate that I have on mine, and that's Jerky Pro, and that's because Jerky Pro is delicious. I absolutely love their jerky, and that's the only reason why they're still on my website. But that may change later on down the road. But other than that,
Now, what do you mean by affiliate?
So when you have a company that comes up and says, "Hey, I'll give you the only quote unquote sponsorship they're going to give you is, hey, if you sell my item, I'll give you 10%." Mm-hmm. That's an affiliate. They're doing literally nothing for you as an organization. Literally nothing, because
no 10%, value to you.
10% is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. There's even I'm not going to say names. I don't want to badmouth the company out there, but there's even a certain company out there that does controllers that they don't even give you 10% anymore. You just earn points on their website to get a free controller, and that's terrible. That's terrible. You're devaluing yourself as an organization. That's why if you go to my website, there's very minimal logos out there. There's very minimal logos on my website because everybody comes to me I say, okay, well, I want this, this, and this from you. And then the minute you tell a company that you want some stuff from them, they completely lose their mind. They freeze up. Oh, what do you mean? I just wanted you to sell my product for absolutely pennies on the dime. No.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta, like, if you want your logo on my jerseys, on my website, on my videos, I'm worth something. And even if you're not, you know, am I as worth as some of the bigger companies out there? No, of course not. But I still have some value. And you got to pay me for that value. And to me, that goes a long way with integrity. Like, I've seen some esports orgs that have, like no kidding. Like, I saw some guys had, like, 12 affiliates on them. Some of them were two different controlling, like, they were controller companies. They had two different controller companies. So they had competing controllers on their own thing.
They're all affiliated out.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, man? It's just like, which controller are you going to sell here, you know? And it's, you know, it's ridiculous. And you gotta have some integrity for your brand. And if you don't, if you're starting a new organization and you don't have it already, definitely make it a legal business, because you're so liable for so many problems down the road if you're not a legal business. And, you know, if you're serious into it, you know, and you're spending your own money, like me, what I can tell people is I own a gaming company, but that doesn't mean I get to play games. There's several times where I've gone gameless for the night because I'm just busy working on the company. And these are raw dollars here that, like, I'm putting it in of my own money, and one of the guys I run it with, he's putting it in his own money. And these are all tax write-offs. Like, that's what people have to understand. Like, be organized. Keep track of your receipts. Everything. Even if you buy somebody a CSGO because their Steam account got hacked or what have you, that's cool. That's money that you need to be organized and collect. And just every little thing. But I would say above all is integrity of your brand and knowing that you're worth something. And don't do affiliates. If you ever quote anything I say, affiliates are for players, not for organizations. Mm-hmm. I'm working with a marketing company right now that even told me that a sponsor has to give you something. They want you to have their product. They want their name on your stuff. They owe you, not the other way around.
Yeah. There's so much we could talk about and dive into some of these topics and details, and we'll have to have you back on the show sometime to go more into those specific details. But sure. One of the last questions I wanted to ask you was, who's somebody worth following in esports? Like, who's somebody that is somebody that's good to look up to, somebody that you feel is doing the right things or is putting the right image out there or the right message, somebody that's not, like, faking it till they make it kind of thing? Like, who's somebody worth following out there, aside from yourself, obviously?
Do you mean in terms of, like, an organization or a player?
Yeah, like an organization who you think is, or if you don't want to name names, just, you know, name the type of qualities or something like that is things you want to look for of people to follow.
I would say one of the biggest organizations that that I look up to, and I've even had the you know what? Actually, I won't even say organization. I'll say a team. Cloud9's Rocket League team, formerly known as the Muffin Men. In my opinion, they did it right. They didn't go to, because, man, I get emails. Oh God, if you only knew. You know, I get emails from people. Hey, I just got whatever diamond rank in Overwatch. Give me $1,000 a month. And for what these guys did, they went to DreamHack on their own accord. They were orgless. They did everything out of their own pocket. They go to DreamHack, own pocket, never asked anyone for anything, held out, won DreamHack, got signed by Cloud9. That's how to do it. You know, if you're a player listening to this, you need to understand that you need to grind and you need to show a company that you're worth something. And the best way to do that is to not go up and instantly demand something. You know, work with the organization. Say, hey, let me play for you and let me show you that I'm worth something. And to me, that's what Cloud9's Rocket League team did.
Yeah, that's really great advice, because that's really unique to esports, too. It's like, you don't need $1,000 a month to play Rocket League, become really, really good at it, compete, you know, try and qualify for these tournaments, play on LAN, you know, win, and then, like you said, like, you don't need thousands of dollars a month to do that. You can put your head down, like you said, and grind and work hard and put in the hours and show you have a track record of success and winning at the game, and organizations will be all over that. Exactly like you said. That's really great advice.
Yep, and that's why, and even my own guys at Rocket League, because we've had to play that roster several times now, and they'll say it too. We're proud of them. Like, I'm proud of those guys. Like, they did a fantastic job. They did great at the X Games. They did great at DreamHack. And they did it, in my opinion, how players should. Now, I'm not saying, when I say that doesn't mean to seek some of your smaller orgs that can't, pay you Cloud9 money. But this is going to sound, okay, look, I'm sounding kind of like a jerk when I say this. As a player, you got to know your value. You got to know what you're worth. And once you have, and the 90.99 whatever % of all esports players overvalue themselves tenfold. I mean, I get CSGO teams that are in ESEA Open right now. They've been playing for like 2 weeks. They come at me wanting $500 a month per player, and I just gotta, why, But know your value and approach it that way, and you'll get an incredibly different aspects from organizations. Because if an organizer listens to this, I know several times it's happened to us. You just grit your teeth because, like, man, if you would just play for us for like 1 month, everything you're asking will come to you because you're playing. You'll earn it. It's just, yeah.
Patience.
Nobody has it, brother.
Everybody wants it. No one has it.
And yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. It's been awesome advice. It's been really great talking to you. I just want to share one last thing of. If you want to share where people can engage with you online or interact with Ambition online, where can they do that?
Well, considering our website right now is like completely broken, we are fighting tooth and nail with our back-end developers. We're actually switching over. We're completely redoing the website. The way to get in contact with us is through Twitter. Like, it's our main 100%. We have our DMs open. Because we like to stay open to the community, to the public, and we are on our Discord literally every day throughout the whole day. And
nice.
The links to our Discord is on our Twitter. Yeah, it's kind of our fan community Twitter. All of our players are on there, and I know that if you're Rocket League players, our guys, they love goofing off on Rocket League. So if you're a Rocket League player and you want to play Drop Shot or like Rumble with some professional players, hop in and let us know, and we'll try and get you hooked up with playing with some of the best people out there.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link all that up in the show notes as well, and make sure everybody knows where to go to get that info. Thanks again, Ryan. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your esports narrative with everybody and me, and I know that we'll have you on again talking about more details about running the ship and fixing the plane while flying. I think you have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of experience to share that would be really valuable to people starting organizations and just in esports in general. So I really appreciate you coming on the show and spending some time with us.
For sure, man.
Awesome. And with that, I just want to remind everyone that if this all goes as planned, this show is just the beginning. Thank you, listeners. I really appreciate you. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and shared the show. Your word of mouth is amazing.